We have declining inflation, except the president's putting on inflationary tariffs. We have incredibly low unemployment, except where it's caused by the Trump administration. We have a market that was doing extremely well last year until the Trump administration sowed a level of uncertainty that I can't recall any time since, are you ready, ski daddy, Jimmy Carter, which is the last time people were really worried about inflation, about stagflation, okay? Back then, stagflation was real. Yeah, and Trump doesn't care. He sees bigger issues than a small hike in price for things, even if you and I think it's going to be terrible for the average consumer. He doesn't care. Let's talk consequences. The president has not said one word about investing in stocks during this period. He's not suckered you into this market. He hasn't told you to invest in America. He hasn't promised higher stock prices. He may have flinched when the S&P 500 was down 10% a couple weeks ago, but he follows the Dow much more than he does the S&P, and the Dow isn't even down that much from its highs. More important, because Trump doesn't seem to care about the stock market this time around, why should he care about certainty, which I've said over and over again is what makes investors happy? He's not trying to make investors happy. He's not all about happiness for us. He's about making these countries bend to his will. And if it causes inflation, then it causes inflation. He never promised you a rose garden stock market, and I sure didn't see one in the rose garden today. Not with huge tariffs on Taiwan that brings NVIDIA stock down. Not on big tariffs with China that'll hurt Apple. Not on the stocks with so many tech companies that will be crushed tomorrow, even as many of these companies are from countries that were trying to build things here to appease them. The appeasement plan didn't work. We keep asking, is it a clearing event? What the heck does that mean? What is Trump, a Trump put? What does that mean? We're missing the point. Yes, I want this over. Yes, I want clarity. I want some sense of how this can all end. But that makes me a fool like the rest of us. We keep thinking that's the point. That's not how Trump sees it. Here is the point. We should simply be looking at companies that cater to small, medium-sized businesses that can't be hurt by tariffs. We need to accept the higher level of inflation because it's coming. We should take out some money and put it on the sidelines, betting that this will end someday, even if we don't know when. But right now, we have to get with the program. And the program is taking down our trading partners and hurting bottom lines all over the place. He doesn't care. He demonstrated that tonight. So you better get used to it. Why is that his goal? Here's the bottom line. The stock market may matter to you and me. It used to matter to Trump. But that was then, and this is now. He wants to punish our trading partners for taking advantage of us. And he'll do whatever it takes to make that happen, even if it crushes our stock market and results in higher prices for all sorts of goods for you and me in America. If that's what it takes to get it done, he's going to do it. I say get over it, and we will work together to find stocks that no matter what Trump does, he can't hurt us, even as that universe grows smaller by the day. It turns out I was right. It really is the Walmart White House. Trump really does believe in everyday lower stock prices. Not in the supermarket, not in the cereal aisle, and not in the fruit aisle, and not in any of the aisles. Only these aisles, right here in the New York Stock Exchange. Over and over again, the president said, listen, it's going to be reciprocal. So you do it, we do it. And that was going to be so good. And I really believed in it. And I feel like a sucker tonight, because I am not a free trader, and I do not believe in free trade. And I was just as tough, if not tougher, than his people, but they screwed it up, and they did it a totally ill-advised way. And I was very let down as someone who really, truly believes that free trade is awful for the American working person. This is what they came up with. Jeez, come on, have some gumption, have some math.
China is fully prepared to fight to the very end because the world is big enough that the United States is not the totality of the market in the world. So if the United States wants to go in that direction of completely shutting itself out of the China market, be my guest.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived. And if the United States wants to bully China, we will deal with the situation without the United States. And we expect to survive for another 5,000 years.
Over 1 month later.
Now, earlier today, you said that we hadn't had negotiations with China. Now you're 2 days away from getting on a plane. And I know you've been working around the clock, but what changed? What was the catalyst for this?
Well, Laura, we haven't had negotiations. And first, thanks for having me on the show. The world has been coming to the U.S., and China has been the missing piece. I was going to be in Switzerland to negotiate with the Swiss. Turns out the Chinese team is traveling through Europe, and they will be in Switzerland also. So we will meet on Saturday and Sunday, And, look, we have shared interest that this isn't sustainable, as I said before, especially on the Chinese side. And, 145%, 125% is the equivalent of an embargo. We don't want to decouple. What we want is fair trade.
Whoa, what's going on? I thought the economy was going to melt down with all this tariffs and stuff in China, and, the stock market was going to totally destroy itself. The U.S. economy was going to go haywire and disappear and all this kind of stuff. Weird, what happened? If you're not aware, because you only pay attention to the traditional fake news, mainstream media news, all that kind of stuff. Hold on, let me just cross the street here. You probably aren't aware that China actually has a lot to lose amid all this tariff stuff. And there's protests going on because the factories are closing. The real estate market had already collapsed in China. Manufacturing, basically all they have left. And they need these warehouse factories, all this kind of stuff connected to that to keep going, keep moving. If it shuts down, their economy shuts down. So just stop and think next time you buy hook, line, and sinker this whole idea that whatever Trump is doing is going to totally destroy the country, destroy the world, make things miserable for everybody, because actually it's working out pretty well so far.
Okay, Peter writes, should I be worried about Bear Stearns in terms of liquidity and get my money out of there? No, no, no. Bear Stearns is fine. Do not take your money out. This is really, look, if there's one takeaway other than the plus 400 somewhere, Bear Stearns is not in trouble. I mean, if anything, they're more likely to be taken over. Don't move your money from Bear. That's just being silly. Don't be silly.